Hi dear students, let us continue our discussion related to the topics of electric charges and fields. So in our previous discussion we came to know the concepts of the charge, the types of the charges, and we studied that fundamental law of that electrostatics, that is the Cavendish law. And at the end of the session we came to know about the concepts of electrification and types of methods of that electrification, isn't it? So the method of charging a body is called electrification. So we have three kinds. The first one is charging by the method of friction, charging by the method of conduction, charging by the method of induction. So let us today learn these methods of charging a body in detail. So the first one, that is charging by the method of friction. So how we can charge a body by the method of friction means it is very simple. So initially we have taken the example of many materials. If they are rubbed against each other, some are acquiring positive charge and some are acquiring negative charge. So ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು previously ಕಲ್ತಂತಹ examples ಎಲ್ಲನೇ ಒಂದು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, let us have the example of the glass rod rubbed against the silk cloth. If we rub the glass rod against the silk cloth, the glass rod acquires positive charge and silk cloth acquires negative charge. Why glass rod is acquiring positive charge? Because it is going to lose electrons. By losing electrons, it acquires positive charge. Why the silk cloth acquires negative charge? It is gaining the electron. So hagadre the method of charging a body, it is friction. We can give simply the definition. The process of charging a body by rubbing against each other, that is the charging by the method of friction. So they can be charged by rubbing against each other, then they are said to be charged. So this important thing about this charging by the method of friction is that here we can charge the insulators also. Already we know about the conductors and insulators, right? Insulators means the materials which does not allow the charges to flow through them, they are considered to be insulators. So even by the method of friction we can charge the insulator, but the insulators can't be charged by remaining two methods, where the remaining two methods, that is charging by the method of conduction and charging by the method of induction, they were applicable only for conductors. So let us move on to that second method of charging a body, that is charging by conduction. So this is also very important method of charging a conductors only. The name itself gives conduction. That means we can charge a conductor by keeping in contact with some charged conductor. That means let us consider the charged body where it has been charged with negative charge. That means its charge is negative. And here we are considering one more conductor which is neutral. Charging by the method of conduction is nothing but if we brought this neutral conductor in contact with this A, where A is negatively charged, and if we brought that B in contact with this A, some of the charges will move to the second conductor which is electrically neutral. So hege andre just ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 50 ಜನ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಸಾಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇರೋದೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಇದಾವೆ, ಆದರೂ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಗೋ ಕೂತ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ಖಾಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಸ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಮೂವ್ ಆನ್ ಟು ದಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್, ಇಸಂಟ್ ಇಟ್? ಸೊ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 50 ಜನ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಖಾಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, some of the charges will move from the conductor A to the conductor B, isn't it? That is charging by the method of conduction. ಇಲ್ಲಿ physical contact exists ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Here there will be existence of physical contact. So the third method of charging a body, that is charging by induction. Charging by the method of induction. So ಈ ಇಂಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ ಬಹಳ ವಿಭಿನ್ನ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಇದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಹಿಯರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಅ ಬಾಡಿ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಅ ಬಾಡಿ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಎನಿ physical contact. That is the major difference between charging by the method of conduction and charging by the method of induction. So hagadre how we can charge a body by the method of induction? For that we have to follow some of the steps. I'm going to give the definition. Charging by the method of induction is charging a body without any physical contact. Charging a body without any physical contact. So hagadre, in order to understand the process of charging a body by the method of induction, so initially I am going to consider two metallic spheres. The first one is A, the second one is B, which are neutral and placed on some insulating stand. So ಎರಡು metallic neutral spheres na ತಗೊಂತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, and they have been placed on the insulating stand. So insulating stand na use ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. They should not be placed on the earth. Later we are going to study the concepts of that earthing. Then the things will be clear. Just now consider the two metallic spheres placed on some insulating stand. So for this I am going to bring one of the charged particle near to the sphere A. I am bringing the positively charged material near to the sphere A. Because of this, the free electrons on both A and B, they are going to experience some attractive force and they will move near to this charged body. The very important thing here, there is no physical contact between this positively charged body and the spheres. They are having some separation. Even though there is separation, they are experiencing electric force. So the free electrons in both that sphere, metallic sphere A and B, they are going to move and they will arrange themselves in such a way that they are going to be arranged very near to this positively charged body, and as the electrons are moving from B to A, there will be some vacancies created, or just we can consider the positive charge is experiencing repulsive force and it is going to move away from that positively charged body. Second step ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಎರಡು ಮೆಟಾಲಿಕ್ ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ initially they were uncharged and both are consisting of free electrons. As soon as we brought the positively charged body near to that sphere A, the negative charges of both the spheres are going to accumulate at the near end of that charged conductor. And the positive charge experiences repulsive force, it is going to arrange at the farthest end. So now let us separate the two spheres. The spheres initially which are in contact with each other, now we should not disturb this conductor. That conductor must be held near to that sphere A. Just we are making separation between that sphere A and B, but the arrangement of the charges remains as it is. Even though we are separating the two spheres initially which are in contact, the electrons will be arranged at the near edge of that conductor and the positive charges are arranged at the farthest end of the metallic sphere B. As they have been separated, let us remove this positively charged conductor which is placed near to sphere A in the next step. So this is A, this is B. Here we are having the insulating stand and we are removing that conductor. As soon as we remove the conductor, the electrons now they are not experiencing any attractive force. So they are willing to move to their positions, but it is not possible because the A and B they have been separated. So B ಇಂದನು electrons ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ವು, ಈಗ ನಾವು rod ನ remove ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ those electrons will not move to the B because there is no physical contact, right? So what happens, the electrons will arrange at this edge because they are experiencing some attractive force because of the positive charges. So So this is the arrangement of charges as soon as we remove the positively charged body which is kept near to the sphere A. So now the negatively charged sphere A and the positively charged sphere B, the charges will be distributed uniformly on the surfaces if the distance between the spheres will be increased further. So as they are experiencing some force of attraction between them, let us increase the distance between A and B such that they are not experiencing any kind of forces. Therefore, these electrons which are accumulating at one edge, now they will be distributed uniformly throughout that metallic sphere A, and the positive charges, they are also going to be distributed uniformly on the entire surface of metal conducting sphere B, metallic conducting sphere B. So this is the method of charging by the induction where there is no physical contact. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಬಾಡಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೂ ಸಹ ಎರಡು ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ನು we made one sphere as a negatively charged, the other sphere as a positively charged. That means we are charging a body without any physical contact. This method of charging a body without any physical contact is called charging by the method of induction. So if you observe the definitions, yes, the first one, that is charging by friction. By rubbing materials against one another, we can easily charge the bodies, and that is the charging by the method of friction. So the definition of that charging by conduction, the process of charging a body by bringing a charged body in contact with it is called charging by conduction. So charging by conduction alli enagbeku, so charged body jotege that neutral conductor na contact tandaga the charges will flow from one body to another body and both the body will acquire charges. That is charging by conduction. And the last one, charging by the method of induction where there is no physical contact. So the definition was like this. Yes, the process of charging a body by bringing a charged body near to it without physical contact, this is called charging by the method of induction. So we must know the different steps involved in the charging by induction. So idenu anta important expected question allde idrunu we must know which are the steps we are following. So first step, second step, third step, isn't it? So here there is no physical contact between the charged body and the spheres, and we are calling them that method as a charging by induction. So after studying the methods of electrification of a body, now we have to focus on some of the basic properties of the charges. So yes, as we already know about some of the general properties of the electric charges, where we have two kinds of charges. Like charges will repel, unlike charges will attract. The charge is a scalar quantity. The charges will always reside on the surface of the conductor. Like this, we must know about some of the basic properties of the charges. Nodi, general properties anta question kelidaga we can write all the properties, but if they in particularly ask about the basic properties of the charges, we have to write related to these three basic properties, whereas the first one is the additivity of electric charges, the second one is conservation of the charges, the third one is quantization of the charge. These three are considered to be the basic properties of the charges. So let us try to read individual basic properties of the charges one by one. So if they simply ask the question, mention the basic properties, just mention madidre sakagata. In case they have been asked to explain any one of them, they may ask, explain the additivity of the electric charges, how the charges will be conserved. What about the quantization of the charge? Individual agi kelidaga ನಾವು explanation ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Just give the properties ಅಥವಾ mention the properties ಅಂದಾಗ headings ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So the first property, that is the additivity of electric charges. So ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬಹಳ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ the charges will be distributed on all of its surfaces. Just let us consider Here we have the conductor. So here we can find some charge Q1, here Q2, here Q3, like this. The charges will be available at different portions of the conductor. To get the total charge of that conductor, we have to add the total charge which is present at the different parts of that conductor. ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಅದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಒಂದು 3 ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅವನ ಹತ್ರ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ 3 ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದು ಸಮರಿ ತಗೋಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಾವು, isn't it? ಸೊ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಈಗ ಅಡಿಟಿವಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂದು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಆಲ್ಜಿಬ್ರಾಯಿಕ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ Q1, Q2, Q3. ಸೊ Q1 ಇದೆ, Q2 ಇದೆ, Q3 ಇದೆ. So the total charge of this conductor, it will be Q. Always the charge will be represented by the letter Q. Either it may be capital Q or small q. So Q is equals to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. That gives the total charge. So hagadre additivity of electric charges. The total charge of a system is equal to the algebraic sum of all the charges present at different portions of the conductor. Charges will be distributed at different portions. So to get the total charge, we have to add them. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಆಲ್ಜಿಬ್ರಾಯಿಕ್ ಸಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಬರೀ ಸಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಟೈಪ್ಸ್, ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇದೆ, ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ. Let us consider the second charge is negative. The second charge is negative. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 ಅಂತ ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. It will be Q1 minus Q2 plus Q3. That's why we are using the word algebraic sum. Okay. So total charge ಬೇಕು. So Q1 minus Q2 plus Q3. So ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಅದು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, minus ಆದ್ರೂ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. If the total sum is plus, then we can say the body is positively charged. If the total algebraic sum of all the 3 charges is negative, then we can say the body is negatively charged. So this property we are calling it as a additivity of charges, where the total charge of the body is equal to the algebraic sum of all the charges present at the different portions of that given body, and we are calling that as a additivity of charges. So charges have the additive nature. The second property is that conservation of charge. See, this word is very familiar for us. In our lower classes we are repeatedly hearing that word conservation, conservation, conservation. So well known statement for us, that is the conservation of energy, and in first PUC we studied the conservation of momentum and so on, isn't it? So here we are using that word conservation of charge. So conservation antakshana we are going to think similar to that energy statement, that is charges can neither be created nor be destroyed, isn't it? So we have to understand that in some different manner. It is very important to understand conservation of charges. See, let us consider some isolated system. Isolated system andre it should not exchange the charges with some other object. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಷ್ಟೇ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. If we are considering an isolated system, the charges may be transferred from one body to another body. So we can't say we have lost the charges. We can't say we have generated the charges. So in the example of that rubbing of the glass rod against the silk cloth, if we rub the glass rod against the silk cloth, glass rod becomes positively charged. It loses the electrons. That means we are not destroying the electrons there. Silk cloth becomes negatively charged. That means we are not producing the electrons there. Because of rubbing, the charges will be transferred from one body to another body. So now we can consider that as some isolated system. That means the charges have been not given to earth and so on. ಅಲ್ಲೇನು ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೇವಲ ಆ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ರಾಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಐಸೋಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. For an isolated system, the charge is said to be conserved. Conserved ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ neither be created nor be destroyed. ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು total charge of an isolated system remains constant. The total charge of an isolated system remains constant. So if we rub that glass rod against the silk cloth, some of the electrons from the glass rod may transfer to silk cloth. That's it only. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ರಾಡ್ ಇಂದ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಕ್ಲಾತ್ ಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆದವು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಾವಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ನ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಒನ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಟು ಅನದರ್ ಬಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ದ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಆನ್ ಐಸೋಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ರಿಮೈನ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಫಾರ್ ಅ isolated system, the total charges remains constant. So that is the second basic property of the charges, conservation of charge. Charges can neither be created nor be destroyed. They can be just transferred from one body to another body so that the total charge of an isolated system remains constant. So if we move on to the third property of that charges, that is quantization of charge. This is very important. Please try to understand this thoroughly. Quantization of charges ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ದುಡ್ಡಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ 1000 rupee, 1 lakh rupee, 100 rupees. ಸೊ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ನು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ರುಪಿ. 100 ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, 1000 ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, 1 lakh ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಬಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರುಪಿ ಅಂತ ಬರೀತಾ ಇರೋದು ಇಟ್ ರಿಮೈನ್ಸ್ ಸೇಮ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ವಾಂಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ the charge must be expressed as a integral multiple of the fundamental charge. That fundamental quantity of the charge is nothing but charge of the electron. Yakandre electron, it is the subatomic particle. It has its charge and that value of the charge is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, where coulomb is the SI unit of the charge. So electron ಗೆ ಒಂದು ನಿರ್ದಿಷ್ಟವಾದ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂದು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಬೈ ಲೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಆರ್ ಬೈ ಗೇನಿಂಗ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ನ ಗೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಅದರದ್ದು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ನ ಗೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ we are giving the value of the charge of the body in terms of the integral multiples. Integral multiple ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್, isn't it? ಸೊ 5 ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ನ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಅದರ ಚಾರ್ಜ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಗಿವನ್ ಬೈ Q is equals to N into E, where E is the value of the fundamental quantity of the charge, that is the charge of the electron. N another integer. N is integer. So if it loses the electrons, then it acquires positive charge. If it gains the electrons, then it acquires negative charge. So we can write that quantization of the charge, symbolically written as Q is equals to plus or minus N E. So if we focus on the definition, that total charge on any charged body is the integral multiple of the fundamental charge. It is the integral multiple of the fundamental charge. If ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಬಾಡಿ we can say it has 5, it has gained 5 electrons, then its charge could be Q is equals to it has lost 5 electrons, then its charge could be plus 5 E coulomb. If another body gains 5 electrons, then it will become negatively charged body. That is, its charge will be minus 5 E, where that E is nothing but the fundamental charge, that is the charge of the electron. Its value is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, where coulomb is the SI unit of the charge. So ಇದನ್ನು ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. The total charge on any charged body is the integral multiple of the fundamental charge. integral multiple of fundamental charge. ಇಲ್ಲಿ just ನೋಡಿ, it must be integer. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಅರ್ಧ ಮುಕ್ಕಾಲು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಎರಡು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್, ಮೂರು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್, isn't it? So the total charge must be the integral multiple of the fundamental charge. So we are symbolically writing that as Q is equals to plus or minus n E. That plus and minus that can be decided on the basis of whether it is gaining the electrons or losing the electrons. So these are the three fundamental properties of the charges. The first one is additivity of the charges, the second one is conservation of the charge, the third one is quantization of the charge. Very important question for examination. Yes, now after studying the basic properties of the charges, we have to move on to the very important law, that is the Coulomb's law. See, we already know that the like charges will repel, the unlike charges will attract. Now we are thinking that on what factors this repulsion or attraction depends, how it varies. So that force of attraction or repulsion between the point charges is given by the Coulomb's law. So first, the very important thing here, we have to understand the concept of the point charges. So what is the meaning of this point charges? Means the size of the charge will be negligible when compared to the separation between the two charges. Obviously, if the attraction or repulsion, it is existing between the two charges, right? So the Coulomb's law is applicable for point charges. Then what is the meaning of point charges? Means the charges whose dimensions will become negligible, the size of the charges will be negligible when compared with the separation between the two charges. Then we can call such kind of charges as a point charges. ಯಾವ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ಸಪರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅವುಗಳ ಸೈಜ್ ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜಿಬಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ, the size of the two charges will be negligible when compared to the separation between the charges. Such charges are called as point charges. So one of the limitation of Coulomb's law, the Coulomb's law is applicable for only point charges. So now the statement of that Coulomb's law is very important. It is giving the force of interaction between the two charges. It may be the attractive force or repulsive force. So let us just consider, here we have the positive charge plus Q, and here we have the negative charge minus Q, and the separation between them, let us consider it as R. R is the separation between the two charges, where plus Q and minus Q. Yes, this is negative charge, this is positive charge, having the separation R. So because of opposite polarities, they experience the attractive force. So how much force of attraction exists between these two charges? So that could be obtained with the help of that Coulomb's law. So the scientist Coulomb observes that the force of attraction between these two charges is directly proportional to the, let us consider F is the force of attraction between these two charges. It is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the two charges. Just we are considering the magnitude only, we are not considering whether it is plus or minus. So if we consider its magnitude, let us consider this is Q1, this is Q2. So Q1 Q2 ಅಥವಾ ಬರೇ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಕ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಕ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಶಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ Q1 and Q2 ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡೆ, or we can stick on to that initial consideration only, that is magnitude of plus Q and magnitude of minus Q. He also observes that this force of interaction between the two point charges is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So the force of interaction between the two point charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the separation between the two charges. So F is proportional to magnitude of first charge into magnitude of second charge and inversely proportional to the square of separation between them. So let us consider this is the first charge Q1, this is the second charge Q2, then we can write F is proportional to the magnitude of first charge is Q1, the magnitude of second charge. For magnitude we have to neglect that sign, Q1 into Q2 divided by R square. Q1 into Q2 divided by R square. So in order to remove this proportionality sign, we have to multiply this with some proportionality constant or dielectric constant. F is equals to K into Q1 Q2 divided by R square. F is equals to K into Q1 Q2 by R square, where K stands for some proportionality constant, or we can call it as dielectric constant, where that K is obtained as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ K ನ proportionality constant ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಅದರ value per of the medium will depend ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So K is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Its value is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton meter square Coulomb inverse square. So ಈ K value ನಾವು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ನ್ಯೂಮರಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ. K is equals to 9 into 10 to the power of 9, ಅದರ ಯೂನಿಟ್ Newton meter square per Coulomb square. Yes, just about that K value, that is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. So ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ what is that epsilon naught involved in this K? That is absolute permittivity. Epsilon naught is called as absolute permittivity of the medium, and its value is 8.854. 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12. So epsilon naught ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, K value ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. 1 by 4 pi into K value substitution ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ we are going to get it as 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. Unit will be Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ collectively ನಾವು equation form ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯೋದಾದ್ರೆ the Coulomb law, that is Coulomb's law, in equation form F is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square, where F is the force of interaction, that is the attraction or repulsion between two point charges. That is very important. What are point charges? The charges whose size will be negligible when compared to the separation between them, they are said to be point charges. So the Coulomb's law states that the attractive or repulsive force between 2 point charges is directly proportional to, it is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of charges, the product of magnitude of charges, and also inversely proportional to square of distance between them. So we have written that the force between the point charges F is proportional to Q1 Q2 by R square, and to remove that proportionality sign we are multiplying with some constant K. F is equals to K into Q1 Q2 by R square, where it is called proportionality constant or dielectric constant. Its value is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught equals to 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square, where epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space. Its value is 8.854 into 10 power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. And finally we are writing the expression for the Coulomb force, that is F equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. So just state Coulomb's law ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ statement ಬರಿತೀವಿ, ಈ final expression ಬರಿತೀವಿ. What is the statement of that Coulomb's law? The attractive or repulsive force between two point charges, it is must to write point charges. If we simply write charges, it is Not applicable because that is a limitation, one of the limitation of Coulomb's law. The attractive or repulsive force between 2 point charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. Obviously, ಈಗ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ +2 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ -5 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಅವೆರಡರ ನಡುವೆ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ +10 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ -10 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಎಸ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ನಡುವೆನೂ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ನಡುವೆನೂ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ +10 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ -10 ಕೂಲಂಬ್, ಅದರದ್ದು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದೋಸ್ ಟೂ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮೋರ್, ಇಸ್ಂಟ್ ಇಟ್? ಯಾಕೆ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 5 ಇದೆ. ಸೊ 5 × 2 10 ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 10 × 10 ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ 100. ಬರೇ ಆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ಇಫ್ ದ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ which are in interaction is more, then the force obviously it becomes more. So ಈಗ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ +10 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ -10 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋಣಂತ. ಲೆಟ್ us consider initially they are separated by 10 centimeter. ಅವೆರಡರ ನಡುವೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ಸಪರೇಷನ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 10 centimeter ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಇಫ್ ವಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ದ ಸಪರೇಷನ್ ಟು 50 centimeter, ಆ ಎರಡು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಗಳನ್ನ ದೂರ ತಗೊಂಡೋದ್ರೆ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟಲಿ ವಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ದಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ವೇರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ನ ಡಬಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಈ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್ ಬೈ 1/4. ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಡಬಲ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟರಾಕ್ಷನ್ನು ಮುಕ್ಕಾಲು ಭಾಗದಷ್ಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಸ್ ಟು 1/4. ಯಾಕೆ? ದಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಟು ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ? ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟಲಿ ವಿ ಗಾಟ್ ದಟ್ force of interaction is inversely proportional to square of the distance between the 2-point charges. So this is the very important law which gives the interaction force between the 2-point charges. We are calling it as a Coulomb's law. State Coulomb's law, isn't it? Very important statement. The attractive or repulsive force between any 2-point charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of charges and inversely proportional to square of distance between them. F is equals to 1/4πε0 q1 q2 by r square. So after studying that Coulomb's law, now we have to think of its limitation and representation of that Coulomb's law in vector